What's good, everybody? I'm BPC and welcome to Competitive Origins MMA. Now, Henry Cejudo has the opportunity to have a historic 2021. Now, if you recall, in 2018, he went up against the best 125-pound fighter of all time, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. And he ended up pulling off a 5-round decision victory to claim the 125-pound crown. Well, the following year, he went up against TJ Dillashaw, the 135-pound champion. But the 135-pound title was not up for grabs. It was for the 125-pound title, and he didn't disappoint. In 32 seconds, he was able to secure a TKO victory against TJ Dillashaw, cementing himself as the 125-pound champion, that it was not just a fluke. And then it turned out that TJ Dillashaw tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug. Well, that resulted in him being stripped from his title, and therefore, Henry Cejudo was going to have the opportunity to move up in weight class to fight for the vacant belt. Well, it was not going to be an easy task because he was going up against a 135 veteran, Marlon Moraes. And the fight started off, and Marlon Moraes kind of showed that he deserved the 135 title in the beginning of the fight. Henry Cejudo looked like he bit off more than he could chew. And it was in this fight where I actually became a fan of Henry Cejudo because he faced a ton of adversity and he was able to overcome it. He overcame it with a TKO stoppage victory in glorious fashion, cementing himself as the new champ, having been the 125 champion currently and the 135 champion at the exact same time. Well, he decided to vacate the 125-pound championship so he wouldn't hold up the division, but he did in 2020 defend that 135 belt against who some feel is the best 135 of all time, Dominick Cruz. Well, the fight didn't last too long either, and he scored a TKO victory against Dominick Cruz. Now, some might have felt there was an early stoppage, including Dominick Cruz, but at the end of the day, he got the victory. Well, he followed up that victory by announcing his retirement. In the post-conference, he said that he needs more money, and I think it was kind of like, hey, I've won this belt, Dana, I'm going to retire if you don't offer me the money. And Dana called his bluff because Dana moved on with the 125 division and he moved on with the 135 division. At the end of the day, he had made about $390,000 to $440,000 per fight in his last 3. When you take into his account his show money, his bonus money, and his incentive money. Well, this has set the stage, like I said, for a historic 2021. And he started off by subscribing to Competitive Origins MMA. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be notified as soon as these videos go live. Well, moving from there, he said that he wants to fight the 145-pound champion, Alexander Volkanovski. Now, he said this on multiple occasions, and the reason being is that he feels he matches up really well with Alexander. See, he's 5'4", and Alexander is 5'6", which is pretty short for the 145 division, and therefore he thinks that since they match up, he has a better skill set and he would be able to pull off the victory. Now, if he was able to do something like that, he would become the first UFC triple champion. That's right, the first person to hold a belt in 125, 135, and 145. And when you look at his mantle, you'll also see a gold Olympic medal. Basically cementing himself as quite possibly one of the best combat athletes of all time. Now, moving from there, Peter Yan fought for his vacant title against Jose Aldo, who some consider to be the best 145-pound champion of all time. And they fought at 135. Peter Yan got the victory by TKO. So this would really set up an interesting bout because, the victory over Jose Aldo gives Peter the credibility that he needs, and now he's a champion facing Henry Cejudo rather than just being a challenger. Now, that doesn't stop there. Deiveson Figuerido also has called out Henry Cejudo, and I have a video actually I have a link at the end of this video where you can watch that too. But basically it comes down to, he's the 125-pound champion. He won the vacant belt against Joseph Benavidez, and he's been on an absolute tear. And now he's sick and tired of Henry Cejudo running his mouth, and he wants to shut it. So he proposes a catchweight fight. You know, he knows that Henry doesn't want to fight at 125 anymore. He's comfortable at 135. So he said, let's meet halfway. Let's do 130 catchweight for the BMF belt. Now, if you recall, the BMF belt was a one-time belt. It was for Nate Diaz and Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. So it would be pretty interesting if Dana White were to bring it back for a lovely opportunity such as this. And like we all know, Henry Cejudo loves championship belts. If he was able to get the 145, you know, for the first time, he would definitely do it. And if he was able to secure a BMF belt, that would be also something that he would definitely be interested in. Well, it didn't take long for Henry Cejudo to respond, you know, with a great comeback. And he went on Twitter and he posted a picture of Deiveson Figueiredo in a salon, and he was blow drying a client's hair. Now, you know, I'm sure that got a lot of chuckles out of people. You know, previous to becoming a UFC champion, Deiveson was actually a bricklayer. And then from a bricklayer, he was a sushi chef. And then from a sushi chef, he was a professional hairdresser. So he had a whole bunch of different jobs before he actually became UFC champion. Now, underneath the photo, he basically said, you know, that I see you're an excellent at, or I see that you're excellent at blowing because your last fight sucked. Now, he was referencing his title defense against Brandon Moreno, which ended up in a draw. Now, he then kind of called out Dana White and said, this is your fighter of the year. You know, I would knock his out, and I would do it in one. And not referencing one round, but he followed up with saying that 1 minute, that is. And like I said, he did knock out TJ Dillashaw in 32 seconds. So maybe 1 minute is possible when you're talking about Deiveson Figueiredo. Now, let me know in the comment section how you think all three of these fights match up between Petr Yan, between Figueiredo, and between Volkanovski against the King of Cringe, Henry Cejudo. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about that. And let me know who you think will win these fights. And let me know if you even think these fights will actually take place. Don't forget to go to competitiveorigins.com, type in promo code MMA41 so you can get 10% off this Competitive Origins Get It Done t-shirt. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. I'm BPC, and don't forget, you've been competing since conception, whether you're competing against yourself or others. Competitive Origins.